Yep, you got to go hit the button that says that you consent to being recorded. Nothing I can do. Sorry. All right. Welcome, everybody. Happy Thursday. Today's class, our focus pose is dolphin. Dolphin pose. So that is sometimes called puppy pose. It's downward facing dog on your forearms. So it's a basic kind of activity. It's very similar to downward facing dog in a lot of its shoulder action, but where it really gets to you is that it's a deeper shoulder opening than downward facing dog. It's a more of a shoulder strengthener, right? Because it also requires you to use more muscular energy. It's a shoulder strengthener. And I've been thinking of it as it's almost the kind of opposite pose from fish, right? So if you think about fish pose as being this huge opening through the chest and the upper back, right? Is that's really where it focuses its opening. Is dolphin is kind of the opposite of that, because you've got your butt in the air and you're really doing the muscular energy through your shoulders in the other direction, right? So we're actually trying to fill up the back body. And by doing that with the hips up is we're actually really stretching into the lower back, right? So if you're getting really caught up in, oh my gosh, this pose is so hard because of my shoulders, maybe. But it's also probably really difficult if you have a tight lower back, because your lower spine is going to send all of that weight down into your shoulders and your upper back, right? So the preparation for this pose is realizing that it's not just about your shoulders. Your shoulders are actually just helping you to stay lifted and open, pushing the floor away. And a lot of the flexibility actually has to come from the lower spine, right? Middle and lower spine. Yeah. So dolphin, right? Like the dolphin that rises up out of the ocean, right? It's in that big arcing kind of jump. That's why it's called that. And so the energy of that, right, is playful, right? Dolphin energy is always considered to be this playful energy of living your life for the fun of it, right? Dolphins are one of the few animals that really do a lot of what they do for fun, right? So you're here to practice, not to find out what's wrong with you, but you are here to practice to enjoy, right? To have fun with what you have. Right, so comfortable seat, let your eyes close for a moment. Just for a couple of breaths as you are settling in is a version of sit-to-lee breath. So instead of curling the tongue, we're just going to sip in the breath through the O-shaped mouth and then close the mouth and exhale out through the nose. Good, and just do that for a moment or so, breathing in through the mouth and exhaling out through the nose. Good. Dolphin is able to dive beneath the surface. Again, one of those few animals, aquatic animals, that is a mammal. It lives in the water, but it needs the air, needs the sky. So sort of just like that as human beings, we are physical beings that need the divine. We need the infinite. So your breath is that link, right? Brings you from the infinite into the finite, from the finite back to the infinite. And like the dolphin, in between those two things, we learn to play. One is the opportunity to play with the other. The sit-to-lee breath is a cooling breath, an opportunity to bring yourself out of a state of hyperness that may have occurred during the day. And let yourself arrive somewhere that is a little bit quieter so that you are awake enough, aware enough to perceive enjoyment. Really receive it. Last breath like that, breathing in through the mouth. Do exhale out through the nose. Let your breath return to its inhale and its exhale through the nose. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. And we'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release the hand. Stay seated. Maybe switch the cross of your ankles if you'd like. If you've been sitting the same way, you always sit the same way. Switch the cross of your ankles. Give the other hip a little bit of a different stretch. And then inhale the arms up to the sky, please. Good. Twist to the right. Left hand to outer right knee. Right fingertips to the floor. Good. Deep breath in. Again, drawing in and up through the spine. And then keep that lift as you exhale. Bend the left elbow. Drag yourself into the twist a little deeper. Good, and then one more time, inhaling, getting taller through your spine, dropping the shoulders away from the ears. And as you exhale, navel draws in, twist yourself a little deeper. Again, from your back, from your abdominals, squeeze. Good, and then keep that left hand where it is. Take the right arm up to the sky, and then lean to your left. So taking the right arm over the ear into the diagonal stretch, but keep your ribs drawing back. So it's like the whole time you're trying to fill up the back rib cage. Good. So you keep that feeling of the navel drawing in, working with the back muscles to create the twist. Good. And then as you come back out of the twist, drop that right hand to your left knee. So your arms are crossed in front of you. Drop your chin towards your chest. And then pressing those hands against your thighs, bend your elbows and pull. Good. Yep. So squeeze your hands against your knees, widen the elbows, widen the chest, rounding into the back body, shoulders away from your ears, but muscular energy in your arms. Good. And then unwind all of that, please. Inhale the arms all the way up to the sky. Twist the other way. So reaching the right hand to your left knee, left fingertips back behind you. Good. Again, breathing into the spine, pull up a little longer. And then as you exhale, it should feel like your weight is actually falling back slightly. Draw the navel in, twist a little deeper, drawing that right rib cage around. Good. And then still in the twist, inhale, get longer through your spine. Good. And then as you exhale again, bend that right elbow, press the arm against the knee or the hand against the knee, twist a little deeper. So again, this muscular energy in your arm is relevant, right? So you want to wake up the shoulder. And then keep the right hand where it is. Take the left arm up off the floor. Lean to your right. Take the side body stretch. Good. And then again, try and round into your back ribs. So try and turtle, we call it, right? Draw yourself inward and then open that left side ribs, left side chest up towards the sky. Bend your right elbow. Good. That's it. Shoulder away from your ear. Nice. And then as you release the twist, cross the left hand to your right knee again. So the arms cross the body. Drop your chin towards your chest. Press your hands against your knees. Bend your elbows and pull. Good. So as you bend your elbows, you're trying to pull your arms wide. Pull up through the back of your rib cage. Long throat. Good. So the chin is dropped, but the throat is long. Nice. And then slowly release. Come all the way back up. Inhale the arms to the sky. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bring your hands together, please. Palms together, forearms together, like a little prayer position. Good. And then lift your elbows so they're pretty much in line with your shoulders. And try to keep those hands and the forearms pressed together. And then you're just pulsing. You're lifting the elbows a little higher. Good. And dropping it just to that level of your shoulders. So lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Keep going. Try to keep the hands, the forearms pressed together as much as you can. Lift and lower, lift and lower, keeping the shoulders soft away from the ears. So again, you're doing the work here, but you're not clenching into those muscles. So press the hands together a lot. Keep your chest nice and open. Keep going. Little movements. Good. And if your elbows come apart a little bit, that's okay. Just do your best to keep them squeezing together. Good. And lift and lift and lift and lift. 3,000 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is one of those things that muscularly says you do this, it helps to work the pectoral muscles as well. So it gives you a nice defined chest, lifts your boobs a little bit, they say, if that's a concern for you. I don't know. Good. Last one, lift and hold. You got to keep it light, right? Dolphin, playful. Good. And then slowly release, please. Stretching the arms out and wide. I know it's a lot of work. And then take that right hand to the floor, left arm over the ear, side body stretch. Yeah, if that felt like a lot of work, it is. And again, you're isolating a lot of muscles that you probably don't do most of the time. So you might feel it a little bit tomorrow. Come all the way back up to center. Take your side stretch the other way. So left arm reaches out and down. Right arm comes over the ear. Good. Nice, you guys. This season, walk your left hand out just a little further so that you can lean a little bit more. Yep. There you go. Nice. And then come all the way back up. Good job. Roll forward to hands and knees. Hello, shoulders. Hello, chest. Good. And we forget, right, that your shoulders are not just this area on your back as your shoulders wrap around, right? This is still your shoulder. This is the front of the shoulder joint. So this connection to the chest and the pectoral muscles is really important. Take your right arm out wide to the right on hands and knees. Thread the needle, slide that right arm underneath or behind your left wrist. Good. Bring that shoulder towards the floor. Walk the left arm forward towards straight. Good. Nice. And you're walking that left hand towards the center of your mat any amount. The more it comes towards the center of the mat, the deeper the twist, the opportunity for twist through your side body is. Good. You can also keep that elbow bent if having the arm straight feels like it's really restrictive on the shoulder. Keep your shins planted to the floor and that right hip lifted nice and wide. So Dana, right hip up. Mark, right hip up. Sarah, right hip up and wide. Yeah. Remember I said this position is a lot about your lower back. So don't obsess about your shoulders, right? The shoulders need to be strong. The back needs to have some expansion, but the lower back is what's really going to dictate whether this pose is any fun for you or not. And then come on out, please come back to hands and knees and go to the other side. Take the left arm out and wide. Good. Slide behind the right wrist. Left shoulder finds the floor. Walk the right arm forward towards straight, any amount. And then walking that hand towards the center of your mat, any amount. So again, you control how long you go with that arm. Nice. And how much you create that twist. Keep your both shins rooted down to the floor, both shins. Nice. And even here, there's a subtle drawing up of the lower rib cage so that as you are twisting through the shoulders, that twist goes all the way through the length of the back. Nice. Good, you guys. And then slowly walk yourself back out of that. Come back up onto hands and knees. Good. Spread your fingers wide, hands underneath the shoulders, maybe even a little wider than what you would consider to be under your shoulders. So especially if your shoulders are tight, move your hands a little bit wider. Maybe even let your hands, the fan of your fingers, turn outward a slight bit, a tiny bit. Again, this is only if shoulders are tight. If your shoulders don't tend to be tight in downward facing dog, leave them the way that they usually are. Good. And then bend your elbows nice and wide. So Barry, I would take your hands a little wider. Good. Bend your elbows wide. Yep. Like you're dropping your chest towards the floor, bend your elbows wide. There you go. So now you can really feel with your elbows that bent and wide, you can pull your armpits in towards the center of your back. So do that. Pull your armpits in towards the center of your back. Good. I want you to feel your chest here. So you're pushing into your hands. You're keeping your low rib cage drawn up. Good. And you're squeezing those arms up into the shoulder socket. Nice. Now turn your elbows to face back. Squeeze the upper arms towards each other. Beautiful. And then at the same time that you're squeezing in, feel like you're pushing your upper arms away. I know. And then go ahead and press the hands into the floor. Take your chest up to straighten the arms. Good. And then don't change anything. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Good. So as you press back into down dog, if you let your arms pull away from your shoulder socket, you've lost all of the power of your chest. Suddenly now you have to do the work in your arms instead of having it integrated into your chest. So bend your elbows wide again. Good. Do that squeeze of your armpits, lower armpits towards the center of your back, lower tips of the shoulder blades towards the center of your back, and then squeeze the elbows so that they face towards the back of your mat. So now imagine that the forearms are squeezing together, but your upper arms are widening. So your shoulders stay away from your ears. And now start to pull your thighs back to straighten the arms and press through the top of your head. Keep those lower armpits squeezing in. So you should feel like that triangle of your shoulder blades are trying to pull up towards your hips. They squeeze in and pull up. Nice. And then bend your knees a lot. Cat cow your spine. Good. I know. Downward facing dog is a lot of work. Yoga is a lot of work, surprisingly. Physically, it is meant to work the mechanics of the body, work the energy of the body so that it runs smooth, right? Without obstruction. And I think we underestimate how powerful we are because we don't use the power that we have. Because using the power that we have sounds like a lot of work. Feels like a lot of work. But you want to have open shoulders, you got to work with them. You want to have an open lower back, you've got to work with it. Good. And then take your legs to straight, please, lifting the hips nice and high. Come up on the balls of your feet. Squeeze your hands and your feet towards each other. And then soften the heels towards the floor. And again, draw those hips up and back and feel the lower tips of those shoulder blades squeezing in and lifting towards your hips. Nice. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Good. We'll do some things not on your hands. Drop your back heel. Baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Warrior two. Cartwheel the arms up, shoulders over the hips. Good. Turn your palms to face up. Bend your elbows so the tips of your fingers come to the tops of your shoulders. Yep. Elbows lift a little higher and then make circles. Circles with the elbows. Good. And as you're making those circles, don't just stop being like, okay, my elbows are moving. Feel the whole shoulder blade rotating. So make the circle with your shoulder blades. Your arms will follow. Good. Turn your circles the other way, please. So if you are going backwards, go forwards. Front knee is over the front ankle. Widen the inner knee so you still have good, strong warrior two legs. Nice, Victoria. Good. And then come back to stillness, please. Stretch the arms out and wide. Drop the left hand down the back thigh. Right palm reaches up and back. Reverse warrior. Good. And then keep reaching through that right arm. So instead of reaching backwards, reach kind of straight up. So pull up through your right side rib cage. So pull up straight towards the ceiling. Good. And then take that left hand off of your back thigh. Stretch it straight back behind you as though there's a wall behind you and reach for it. So move your rib cage back in space. Reach for that. Good. So the right side ribs are pulling up. Left side ribs are pulling back. Nice. And then bring yourself back to warrior two, arms nice and wide. Good. Straighten the front thigh, please. Triangle pose. Reach that right arm forward, rib cage forward. And then let that right hand touch down to the front leg, floor, or block. Left arm to the sky. Oh, Trikonasana. Nice, you guys. And then take so your right hand stays where it is, either on the floor or on a block. Take your left arm and drop it parallel to the floor. So it points straight out from the center of your chest. Good. And then pull that arm in. So you're plugging the arm into the shoulder socket. So that means your left rib cage is going to move back and up towards the ceiling. Good. So you're literally plugging that arm in, rotating the ribs. Good. And then once you've plugged that in and moved your chest open more, go ahead and stretch that arm over your ear. Yep. And then bend your right knee into side angle pose. Arm is already over the ear. So just bend the right knee. Keep that left arm plugged into the shoulder socket. Good. Turtle into your low rib cage. So again, draw that low rib cage in and rotate. Nice. Good. And then release both hands down to the floor, please. Spin your back heel up. Good job. Step back, downward facing dog. Beautiful. And then drop to your knees, please. Child's pose, knees wide, big toes together to touch. Drop the hips back to your heels. So your choice in child's pose is you can have the arms extended if that feels good to you. Again, if the shoulders are tight, what might feel good is to make a pillow with your hands, moving the elbows wider. So when you come into child's pose, that sort of resting shelf of your forearms gives you a little bit more space to breathe into the upper back. Good. Again, part of the enjoyment of what we have is to actually work with what we have as it is. So it's great to have an understanding that an extended arm might be wonderful for flexibility, or it might be wonderful for doing certain things. But if you're working with an area of the body that's tight, trying to get it to do what it's not ready to do is not going to be super effective. So you work with it where it is, and you move that level of what your edge is just a little bit further each time, right? So you're increasing range of motion, you're increasing comfort, you're increasing strength, right? So never be afraid to modify a pose because it serves your body better, right? So that you can actually enjoy your practice instead of looking at it as everything that's wrong. You start to practice the poses in a way that makes your body feel magnificent, right? Good. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees. Come back downward facing dog. See if you could remember all of the million things that I told you to do before. So especially that drawing the shoulder blades up and in. So instead of pushing down into the floor through the hands, I want you to press into the hands, but I also want you to have that feeling of pulling up the arm bones up into the shoulder socket so your chest gets stronger. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath in down dog. Squeeze those forearms, but feel your upper arms pushing away. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Warrior two. Take the arms up. Good. Nice, you guys. And then with the arms extended this time, just do little circles. Good. Little circles. But again, try and have it feel as though the circles are coming from your shoulder blades. So you're not just moving the arms, but you're literally trying to feel that connection of the arms moving in the shoulder socket. Good. Move your circles the other direction, please. I'd like for you to imagine like you have a little mini hula hoop around each wrist, and you got to keep that hula hoop moving. Yeah, so you can't be lazy about your circles, and you can't have a floppy arm, right? Keep going. Good. I know if this feels fatiguing on the shoulders, it means that your shoulders need to work a little bit. Wake them up. Good. Come back to stillness, stretching out through the arms, and then drop that right hand down the back thigh. Left palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Good. And then again, reach straight up through that left side ribs. Reach straight up through that left arm. Take the right arm off of the back leg and stretch it straight back behind you. Again, as though there's a wall behind you that you're going to reach. Good. And you're pulling back through that right rib cage. Good. Left rib cage goes straight up. Right rib cage goes straight back. So you're pulling your whole torso away from the front thigh. And then go deep into that lunge. Go. Nice, Kristen. Good, Susan. Good, Sarah. Nice, Lorraine and Joe. Good. And then bring yourself all the way back up. Warrior two. Nice job. Straighten that left leg. Reach for triangle. So left rib cage extends forward, and then let that hand touch down. Front leg, floor or block. Right arm to the sky. Good. Setting that hand in a place that allows you to have a straight line wrist to wrist. Yeah. So if you're like, oh, that's no way that that's happening, move your hand. Move your lower hand so that you can create more of that alignment of wrist to wrist. Beautiful. Again, so the sort of being realistic with what is the twist that your torso is able to do. Good, you guys. And then keep that left hand where it is, wherever it's resting. Take your right arm parallel to the floor. So it's pointing straight out from your chest. Good. So it's going to be perpendicular from your body, parallel to the floor. Good. And then pull that right arm in. So you're plugging the arm into the shoulder socket, moving your right rib cage open more, and then slide that right arm over your ear. Good. Keeping the arm plugged in. Good. Nice, you guys. Squeeze those feet together. And then bend your left knee, please. The arm's already over the ear. Come into side angle pose. Good. You can absolutely take that left forearm up to the thigh if you need, or keep it on the block. Good. Good, Joanne. Just drop your chin towards your chest a little bit more, and then really work into your ribs. So it's almost like you're rounding your back. Awesome, you guys. Release both hands down to the floor. Good. Spin your back heel up. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. And as you come into your downward facing dog and automatically press your hips back and collapse your arms out of your shoulder socket, keep with your hips as high as they are, but then also squeeze backwards on your hands, like you're dragging back on your hands, and pull the arms isometrically, right, up into the shoulder socket. Good. So sometimes we say that's like you're widening the chest, but it's really you're just pulling yourself in. You're integrating those arms back in. Beautiful. Drop the knees to the floor, please. Child's pose, knees wide, big toes together to touch. Again, arms can be extended here or elbows wide. Nice. And just as a general categorical statement, there is nothing wrong with having tight shoulders. It just means that your shoulders are tight. Maybe it's anatomical. Maybe it's from life patterns. Maybe it's from a lot of things. It doesn't matter. The tightness is not the problem. It's always how you relate to it. And if that tightness gives you motivation to open, fantastic. And how you choose to open, make it a process that's enjoyable. Otherwise, I guarantee you won't do it. As part of this lesson is that if we don't enjoy what our life has to offer us, is we won't engage with it well. We won't do it. So part of our practice is finding that sense of fulfillment, of joy, of interest in what we have. And some of that starts with saying that what we have is not so bad. Having tight shoulders is not a problem. Good. Walk yourself all the way back in, please. Come back up to hands and knees. Beautiful. Take your right arm out wide to the right. Slide that arm behind your left wrist. Right shoulder finds the floor. Walk your left arm forward to straight, thread the needle. See if you can feel yourself go a little deeper here. So maybe that hand walks a little bit more towards the center of your mat. Maybe the arm comes a little bit more straight. Maybe you just feel that you can actually pull that arm bone into the shoulder socket the same way you just did in side angle pose. Press into both shins. You know, we don't often come back to a pose like this. We often don't come back to a lot of poses for a lot of reasons. Good. Unwind yourself. Come back up to hands and knees and go the other way. Take your left arm out and wide. Slide that arm behind the right wrist. Good. Walk that right arm forward any amount towards straight, and then walking the hand any amount towards the center of your mat. Thread the needle. Good. Pressing into your shins. Nice. The pressing into your shins is what helps make this posture both more stable, right? The bottom half of the body has to be stable for the upper half to twist. But it also helps to activate, open up outer hips and thighs. Necessary for dolphin. Good, you guys. Good. Kristen, just watch that your feet are not splaying wide. It looks like they are from my perspective. Good. And then walk yourself all the way back up to hands and knees, please. Good. And then stretch your right leg back behind you, toes tucked on the floor. Good. Walk your left arm forward up onto your fingertips. So just find that feeling of up on the ball of the foot and on your fingertips for a moment, and then plug that arm and that thigh into the center of the body. So pull in and up first. Ribs draw in, lower back presses up to the sky. Then lift the leg and lift the arm. Take your balance. Good. So it's called actually activating your core before you lift the limbs. Nice, you guys. And then take your left hand back behind your head, please. Lift that elbow nice and wide. Press your head up into your hands. Good. And then bend your right knee. Kick your heel in towards your butt. Don't reach for the foot. Keep your hand where it is. Kick that right thigh a little higher. Press your head up into your hands like you're going to hook your elbow around your foot. It's almost like we're still doing that King Dancer nonsense. One more breath. Good. And then slowly release. Extend all the way out. Good. Bring the left hand back to the floor. Keep your right leg straight, but bring the toes back down to the floor. And then drop that heel to flat. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Take the right arm up to the sky. So it's an open twist. Good. Pressing into the baby toe of that right foot. Again, here, you're not just stacking the ribs, you're stacking your hips. Beautiful. And then bring your right hand to your right hip, please. Press that right hip up into your hand. So again, it's like you're really trying to activate that back leg. Draw the navel in, below your navel in. Suck your ribs in, and then pressing into that left hand. So this might be optional for some of you, but if you can, you're pressing into that left hand, pull up through your left armpit, your left shoulder. So you're arcing everything towards the sky, and then lift your left knee up off the floor. Yep, so that's that bottom knee lifts up. And then try and pull that knee forward towards your left elbow. Yep, so not out to the side, Kristen, just straight forward towards the elbow. I know. Hello. And then release that knee back to the floor. Good. Take a breath, because if you held your breath during that, you're a normal human being. And then release back to hands and knees. Cat cow your spine. So I don't know, maybe you would have been happier if we just did dolphin over and over again instead of this. Cat cow your spine. Right? We work with opposites. So when we say, I want to get stronger, it means you have to engage with where you think you're weak. If you want to become something that you think you aren't, you have to confront all of that version of yourself that you think that you aren't. There's no getting around it, because you're the one defining what you are and what you aren't. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Hands and knees. Good. Take your left leg back behind you. Yep. Left leg back, toes tucked. Walk the right arm forward onto your fingertips. So again, you have the balance set up here. But while you still have fingertips and toes on the floor, I want you to focus on that pressing through that right shin. Pull up through your lower spine. So like you're pressing your sacrum up towards the ceiling. Draw your rib cage in and up. Good. Now plug that arm and that thigh into the center of the body, and then just lift the foot and lift the arm. Good. It becomes way easier to do, right? And then you're actually reaching, the length of this pose is not from your fingertips to your heel, it's from your armpit to your hip. So you're reaching back through the top of your right thigh, but you're pulling forward through your left armpit. Good. And then right hand behind your head, elbow wide. Press the back of the head up into your hand, bend your left knee, kick your heel in, lift up through that thigh. Don't drop your belly. Keep pressing the sacrum up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting your low rib cage in. If you want to take that back bend higher, you got to actually lift your sternum. And you got to press into that supporting arm. You pull your chest up off of that arm. Yeah. Good. And then slowly release, extend all the way back out. Nice. Right hand touches down to the floor. Left leg stays straight. Bring the toes down to the floor. And then drop that left heel flat. Left arm comes to the sky. Stack the hips. Stack your ribs. Open twist. Nice. Good. And so most of us set this up where if you look, you do not have wrist to wrist alignment. You have your armpit, your right armpit back behind your wrist. See if you can bring that armpit forward. We almost did Svanasana today, just so you know, almost. So find that and then bring your left hand to your left hip. Good. Press up, round into that hip, round into your side body. Get your back leg super engaged. The inner thigh lifts. And then navel to spine, pull your low rib cage in, press into that right hand, but pull up through your right armpit. And then lift that right knee up off the floor and pull it forward towards that right elbow. Good. Yep. I know. Nice, 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 nice. And then release that knee down to the floor, please. Good. Extend the arms back out, back to hands and knees. Cat cow your spine. Find your breath. Again, remember, wider hands are happier shoulders. So if your shoulders feel like they are restricted, widen your hands. Good. Nice, you guys. And then come back to stillness, widen the knees, drop your hips back to your heels, child's pose. Beautiful. I just often laugh and think that the ancient yogis would think that we're crazy the way we do asana. They'd be like, why are you doing this? What are you trying to accomplish? I mean, asana is a way to get to comprehending deeper layers of yourself. So yeah, we do it for fun, but part of the fun, we hope, is that you uncover deeper layers of yourself. So the fun is not just I can do this fancy pose or that fancy pose, but it's that my body feels free, my mind feels free, my energy is free. My comprehension of myself is realistic and correct. I don't have those judgments of what's wrong with me or right with me. Good. Nice. And then walk yourself back up, please. And then grab, if you have 2 blocks, I would love for you to sit in Virasana, possibly on a block. And then take your second block between your hands. If you only have 1 block and you want to sit on that block, then you can use a strap for the arm portion. So Virasana, sitting on the shins, knees facing straight ahead, feet slightly wide. So again, you should be sitting between your heels, not on your heels. Good. And then again, a block between the hands if you have one. If not, use a strap. Good. So if you're using the strap, you have it just about shoulder width or just wider than shoulder width. If you're using the block, you're holding the block right in front of you. Press between the palms on its widest setting. Good. So whatever you're doing is you are squeezing that block or hugging or pulling on your strap straight in front of you. Plug your arm bones into your shoulder socket. Feel your chest rise forward and up. So you're sitting nice and straight. Keep that squeeze or that pull. Lift the arms up overhead. Keep squeezing. Good. Shoulders down into the chest and then bend your elbows wide, either pressing into the block or again, pulling on the strap. Good. All the way down towards the top of your head and lift the top of your head. Good. And then keep pressing that block straight in the arms, hugging through the armpits, through your shoulders. Good. And then bring the block straight forward again. Don't let the arms pull away from your chest. Keep them drawn in. Good. And then straight out from the chest, bend your elbows wide and bring the block in towards your chest, squeezing into your back. So hug, hug, hug into the back of your heart. Good. And then press the block straight forward again, still squeezing or pulling on the strap. Take the arms up overhead. Good. Bend the elbows wide, lifting the top of your head towards the block. Again, keep the tension in the arms, in the shoulders. Straighten the arms again, squeezing. Good. Bring the arms forward, straight from the chest, plugging the arms back and in. Soften your ribs back. And then bend the elbows, block comes in towards your chest. Keep pressing so that you get that squeeze of your lower armpits, shoulder blades. And then stretch the block straight forward again. Arms up last time. Good. Bend the elbows wide overhead, reaching through the crown of your head like you're doing a pull-up, that should feel like. Good. And then stretch the arms back up to straight. Same strength in your chest. Bring the arms forward. Good. Plug the arms in, bend the elbows wide, pulling the block in towards your chest, squeeze behind the heart, and then stretch the arms forward and release your block or your strap to the floor. Nicely. It's not its fault. Good. Beautiful, you guys. Take that right arm up to the sky. Bend the elbow, place the hand behind your heart, reach up to hold the tip of your elbow. Yeah, don't worry about adding the second arm, not important. Good. Soften your rib cage back. Beautiful. And then switch. Stretch the arms up to straight. Bend the left elbow. Place the hand to that tip of the elbow. So again, you're stretching through the arm. And this is a big thing, this line through the upper arm into the armpit for dolphin, right? If this area of the body is tight or restricted, then dolphin becomes very, very difficult to do. Good. And then release, taking the arms out and down. Walk your hands back behind you in your Virasana, just a little bit. So as you walk your hands back, right, you're pressing into your shins. Walk your hands back, walk your hands back. And then for some of you, the option is with your hands walk back behind you. You're not coming down to your forearms or anything. Is as you press into your hands, press into your shins, lift your butt up off of the block just a little bit. Hugging through the inner thighs. Yep, you got it. So the idea is just to stretch a little bit more into the pelvis. Good. Again, starting to feel that squeeze of the shoulder blades behind the heart as you lengthen your spine. Nice. Slowly release the hips back down to your block. Walk your hands back up. And then walk yourself forward out of Virasana onto hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Good. Step your right foot forward between the hands, please. Yep, back heel comes to 45 degrees. You can step that foot a little wider to the left if you'd like. Warrior one, inhale both arms to the sky. Good. So deep breath in. And then straighten that front thigh for a moment. As you straighten the front leg, turn your left hip forward more, so square the pelvis. And then reach back behind you, interlace your fingers. Good. Again, shrug the shoulders up towards your ears, squeeze the upper arms, keep the elbows bent, and then get longer through the length of your throat, draw your rib cage in. And now bend the front knee again into warrior one, still upright, but with the arms clasped behind you. So you really have this sensation of your chest staying wide and your low ribs pulling back and in. It should feel like you're actually creating pressure into your back body. Good. Now go ahead and bow inside the front knee. Take the arms up and over any amount. But as you straighten those arms, don't lock the elbows. So you continue to lift the arm bones, the very front of the arm bones forward and up. You're rotating the arms into the shoulder socket. Nice. Press back into that back thigh. Good. Watch that right butt cheek, Sarah. Pull it back and in. You got it. Good. You guys release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Spin your back heel up so you square your hips. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk your hands straight ahead up onto your fingertips. Lizard pose. Good. So you walk the arms forward so that you have extended arms, but you're up on fingertips. And then you're dragging back on the front heel, lifting the hips up and back. Lift your throat up, chest up. Yeah, again, I want you to feel the arms in the shoulder socket. I want you to feel that tension or that pressure at your middle and upper back here. So pull your hips back in space, pull your arm bones up and in, collarbones wide. Good. And then walk your hands back in towards that front foot, please. Nice job. Left hand plants, right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Sarah, push that left hip wider to the left. Nice, Debbie. Good, Victoria. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Nice job. Step the left foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight Parsvottanasana. Use blocks underneath the hands if you'd like. And again, because we're focusing a lot here on the stretch for the lower back, and as you press your hands into the blocks, round into your low belly. So try to actually round into your sacrum, press back into your heels a little bit more. Nice. Good. So Mark, step your left foot forward just a little bit more so you can have that foot closer to being flat, and then really work at moving your weight backwards. There you go. Exactly. Aha. Nice, you guys. Round into your low belly. So it's almost like the upper body gets a chance to hang. Good. We're just going to stay here until you don't want to be anywhere else. You just want to be in this pose forever. It's like the principle behind all torture. I'll tell you anything you want. Anything you want if it means I get to change this. So just take one more full breath again, enjoying this position where you're pulling your hips nice and high, right? So this is simulating a little bit of that feeling of dolphin where you have to really lift through your hips, lift through your legs. And then bend that right knee, please. Step the left foot forward, top of your mat. Take both legs to straight. Good. Bend your knees, drop your seat nice and low, thighs parallel the floor, walk your fingertips straight forward. You can even separate your feet a little wider here if you'd like. So like a wider chair pose. Good, but walk your hands forward. Again, if you need blocks underneath your hands, have them, but let your butt move back. So this is, again, not so much trying to focus on your legs, but focusing on stretching your spine. So you got to drop your butt low to get this stretch on the legs and back, right? Let your weight move back towards your heels. Pull your butt back. Good. Nice, nice, nice. And then just for a breath, lift your arms up so your torso parallels the floor. So you really get that sensation of your butt is moving back in space. That's it. Very nice. Drop your butt lower, Mark. Good, Victoria. Good, Susan. Good, Sarah. Good, Kristen. Good, Joanne, Lorraine. Good, Debbie. Release the hands to the floor, straighten the legs, and bow. Deep breath out. There you go. Good. Like a dolphin spitting into the air. Good, you guys. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Good, go through a vinyasa if you'd like, or a child's pose if that feels like a better idea, or you can stay in dog, right? Really work the strength of your shoulders. If you're coming through the vinyasa, come forward to plank, lower down to your belly, rise up cobra. Good. And then find your way back, downward facing dog. Again, if you've been in child's pose, find your way back to downward facing dog. Good. And then the left foot steps forward between the hands, lunge. Right foot steps a little wider to the right, drop the heel to 45 degrees, and then take the arms up for warrior one. So front knee is over the front ankle, hips facing straight ahead. You got it. And then once you found the position of warrior one, what you feel like is the position of warrior one, straighten your front thigh. Good. As you straighten the front thigh, you can square your pelvis a little bit more. So turn that right hip forward, draw the left hip back and wide. Good. Maybe you reorient that back foot or that back ankle. You lift up through your hip points and then take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers. So the trick here is that I know automatically once you take your hands back behind you, you're going to start to arch your back and come out of the length of your spine. So that's the trick, right? I know that you're doing it. You know that you're doing it. So as you hug those upper arms towards each other with the elbows bent, pull your armpits up towards your ears and then pull your low rib cage in. No bellies distending, no ribs pushing out. Pull in. Good. Create that pressure at your own middle back. Good. And then bend the front knee into warrior one, but don't change that. Keep drawing the front of the body backwards. Good. So that if you want your chest to lift here, you have to actually physically lengthen your spine. You don't just get to push your ribs forward. So pull up, pull in. Good. Good. Susan, push your left hip wider to the left. Yeah, that's it. Good. And then bow inside the front thigh. You guys take the arms up and over any amount. Again, watching that again, as soon as we come forward, the tendency is that we start to round into the upper shoulders. So keep those arm bones rolling up and backwards. Good. Nice, you guys. So again, an awareness of your chest here. Your chest is the big part of what the strength of Dolphin is. Chest has to be open. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. Good. Spin your back heel up. Both hands come inside the front foot. And then walk your hands straight ahead into lizard. So you're extending the arms forward up on fingertips. So you want to walk yourself out as long as you can. Don't let the front knee pass the ankle. Good. And then you're pulling your hips up and back. Nice. And then your hands extended, arms extended. Pull your arms up into the shoulder socket. Again, widen your chest. Get into your chest. Good. As you get into your chest and you feel that connection of the shoulder blades as they move on your back, this is what the opening is, right? The ability of your shoulder blades to move on your back. Good. One more breath. Pull your hips back. Pull your chest forward and up. Nice. And then walk your hands all the way back in, please. Right hand plants, left arm to the sky, spinal twist. Again, wrist to wrist alignment. So can you draw your chest open in a way where your left wrist is in line with your right? Good. Even just try to look for that, even if you're not sure. Good. Release that hand back down to the floor. Nice. Step your right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight, Parsvottanasana. Good. My favorite is when this pose starts to feel like a resting pose. You're like, thank God, it's not a lunge. Pull your hips up and back. Blocks underneath the hands. Great idea. Round into your lower belly, round into your lower spine here. Let the upper body relax. Good. So you drop the shoulders away from the ears. You let the arms slide into the chest, into the shoulder socket. Good. Pull your hips up and back. That's it. I like about Dolphin is that it's a pose, it's a progressive pose, right? So it does a lot in and of itself. It does all the work of downward facing dog without any of the pressure on the wrist, even though it's a bigger shoulder opener. But it's also the sort of progression of moving from a pose like downward facing dog into a pose like Pincha Mayurasana, which is forearm balance, right? It might not be a dream of yours to do that, but it's a dream of mine for you to be able to do that. So you're stuck in that. Right? So we work Dolphin with this understanding that the more your chest, back, shoulders, everything becomes open, is that more possibilities become open to you. More things to play with, more fun. Last breath here. Pull your hips up and back. Good. And then bend that left knee, please. Plant the hands, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Come forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Widen the arms. So you come into a nice wide armed cobra. So walk the hands wider than your mat. Come up on your fingertips, elbows lifted. Good. And then still the same work in the legs. Press down through your legs. Lift up head, neck, and chest. Good. Susan, take your hands a little wider, all the way off your mat. Wider, wider. Good. Really lift chest forward and up. Armpits lifted up. Elbows lifting up. Nice. Good, you guys. I want you to really feel that space that is behind your heart. Good. And then slowly release back to your belly. Beautiful. And then flip over onto your back. After all that, wouldn't it be hilarious? But we're just not going to do Dolphin. We'll do something else. No such luck. No such luck. Bend your knees, please. Plant your feet. Or even more hilarious if I said Shavasana, you're done. No. Lift your hips, please. Place a block underneath your sacrum if you have one.
Sacrum?
Yes, underneath the sacrum.
I mean, if you have a sacrum.
If you have a sacrum, that's right. If you don't have a sacrum, we will have a conversation about how you manage to move. Good. Nice, you guys. So again, it's just for a breath, stay where you are. 2 breaths, stay where you are. And then if you are on a block, the end of your next breath, if you are not already on its highest setting, I want you to turn your block up to its next highest setting.
The next one or the highest?
Just to the next one. Yeah, if you're already on the highest setting, obviously stay where you are. But the idea is that whatever you are used to being your comfort level in this position is I want you to challenge it just a little bit. So again, with the block is you have the ease of knowing that gravity is working with you, that there's not a huge amount of muscular energy that has to go into forcing the body into this position. Good. And then again, the end of the next breath or two, if you are not already at the highest setting of your block, maybe find your way to the highest setting of your block, even if that means you have to be up on your tippy toes. Good. And if the block will not go there, don't stress about it, right? Put the block back where it will go. Good. If you do not have a block and you're using something else underneath you, come up on your tippy toes so that you can lift your hips higher. Arms can be in robot arms if that's helpful. Good. Even if you are on the highest setting of your block, come up on your tippy toes and see if you can actually lift your hips higher.
Oh.
Good. Yeah, pressing into the top ridge of the shoulders. Nice. Good. One more breath. And then slowly release the hips back onto the block. Good. And then slowly release the block from underneath you. Roll down the spine one vertebra at a time. Good. Pause with the spine nice and flat on the floor, nice and resting on the floor. Neutral. Good. If that felt like a lot on your lower back, take your knees together, separate your feet. So the opposite of Baddha Konasana, knees together, feet wide. Good.
It actually felt pretty easy.
Felt pretty good, right?
Yeah, I never did that.
Yeah. Every now and then, if we really get into the like full muscular ability of our legs and our butt, and not because we want to hold or really push ourselves beyond what we can do, but that full like active on tippy toes bridge pose is you will go deeper than you typically go, because typically you are holding yourself back for good reason, usually. But it's an interesting place to go and say, oh, there's actually more extension in my spine. I can go there. Good. So bring your feet back towards each other so that they are just hips width, knees on top of the ankles. And then bend your elbows into robot arms. Good. So this is a modified fish pose or a different variation of fish pose. Keeping the knees bent, start to arch into your lower spine. So start to tilt your pelvic bones towards your heels. So it's like your tail is rotating down and the top of your hip points is moving towards your thighs. And then press into those upper arms and feel yourself lifting from your armpits, from the back of your heart, like you're coming into fish, but your butt stays on the floor. Butt stays on the floor. You're arching the back like you're in fish pose. Good. So maybe in this position, you can come into a full fish where the top of your head can find the floor. For a lot of us, it might be impossible in this position. That's fine, but just work the amount of back bend that you can. Armpits lifted, throat long, chest wide. This is the point, right? Is that you have to get into that feeling of my arms and my chest are working together. Good. Butt down to the floor. Navel in. Beautiful. And then slowly release. Come back to that neutral spine. Good. And then stretch your legs out to straight, please. You can flex the feet or point them, your choice. Bring the legs together. And you can leave your arms in robot arms if you choose, or the other traditional position for fish is to straighten the arms alongside your torso, sliding the hands underneath your butt, palms facing down. Good. So the arms should be really close, squeezed in almost underneath the sides of your torso. So it's already like a shoulder opener. So if you are in that variation, again, your butt stays on the floor in fish. No matter what, your butt stays on the floor. So active legs, flex or point the feet, squeeze those legs together, and then press into your forearms. Same place has to engage. Engage that middle back armpit area, squeeze in, arch the heart towards the sky, pressing through your forearms, lifting the chest up, 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 lengthen the throat, drop the head to the floor. Good. My only suggestion is that if you are using the arms underneath you, is that you keep your butt anchored to the floor and you keep that feeling of squeezing through your spine. So you're pushing into your forearms, but your shoulders are wide away from your ears and your sternum is pulling up towards the sky. So it almost feels like you're suspended by the arch of your chest or the lift of your chest. Really nice, Barry. Good, Dana. Nice, Mark. Awesome, you guys. Last breath, rise higher. Yeah, nice, nice. And then slowly release, please. Unwind it. Okay. Nice job. Take a moment and then bend your knees, please. Take the knees in towards your chest, both knees.
Mark is flopping around in the bottom of the boat.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the fish in the room here are almost dead. Move your hips over to the left, drop your knees to the right. Spinal twist. Remember I said that fish and dolphin are almost, in my mind, sort of opposites to each other. So the action of working to open the back in fish, I think, is a nice way to open the back, right? To work in dolphin. Come back to center, please. Take your hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left, spinal twist. Good, have your knees in line with your hips or slightly higher. So again, you're getting that coordination where both sides of your pelvis are in line with each other. Creates a nicer, more even stretch on the lower back, one that is not stressful on the lower back. Dolphin, an attitude of enjoying what you have. Even if what you have is imperfect. Enjoy it for what it is and don't worry about what it isn't. Bring yourself back to center, please. Good, squeeze the knees in towards your chest. Good, roll forward and back on your spine. Come on up to sit. Good, my people in the room, because you're facing the wall, stay facing the wall and just stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Those of you in your own houses, you can face whatever way you want. Stretch the legs out in front of you. Good, if you are in the room near the wall, move your feet so that they are up against the wall. Good, and none of you at home look like you have a really handy wall, so just stay where you are. Good, but pressing the feet into the wall, inhale the arms up to the sky. You could do this if you have your strap handy and you want to strap around the balls of your feet here for Paschimottanasana, you could totally do that. Good, not you, Mark, because you have the wall. Good, and then start to sitting up, Debbie. Yep, there you go. And then start to bow forward, please. If you're using the strap, bending your elbows. So again, you get that feeling of widening through your chest, pulling the arm bones in and back. Good. If you're using the wall, you're pressing your feet into the wall and simultaneously trying to push your butt back away from the wall. Good. Chest nice and wide, you guys. Good. Bending the elbows is fantastic. Even if you are holding the feet or the legs, bend your elbows wide. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. And then again, lift your sternum forward and up. You're going to bring your heart to your toes. Good. Nice, Kristen. Awesome. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Release your strap. Good. If you are in the room, just flip yourselves over so that you're on hands and knees facing the top of your mat. If you are at home, come on to hands and knees facing the top of your mat. Okay, grab a block. Last torture, I promise. And holding the block or bring the block to the floor between your forearms. So you're going to have the block between the lower part of your forearms onto the pinky finger side of your hands, palms facing each other, onto your elbows, please. So you're dropping onto your elbows, squeezing that block between your forearms. Good. So the pinky finger side of the hand is pressing down to the mat, squeezing the block between your forearms. So as you squeeze that block in, I want you to simultaneously feel like you are trying to push the top of your arm bones wide. Good. So the forearms squeeze in, top of arm bones go wide. Good. Draw your navel in and up, draw your rib cage in, create that pressure at your middle back as you squeeze through the arms and try and plug your arms into the shoulders or into the chest. Draw your ribs in and feel that pressure. Good. Maintain that pressure. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Like you're coming into dolphin, because you are. Good. Keep pressing through the forearms. That does not change. Keep drawing the arm bones up and in, shoulder blades up towards your hips, rib cage in, front body hugs back body. Walk your feet forward any amount. You can drop the head to be a nice long line here. You don't have to lift. And if your head rests on your block, swaha. Good. Pull your hips up and back. As you pull your hips up and back, pressing through the heels, pressing through the inner thighs, as it will take some of that weight off of your arms. But keep pressing into the forearms. Keep squeezing the block. One more breath. Drop the knees to the floor. Child's pose. Might feel lovely to reach your hands back for your feet. Give the shoulders a completely different place to be. Just think, you're like 2 steps away from doing forearm balance. If you master Dolphin, then you're 3/4 of the way there. Okay. Last time, come on up onto your forearms. So you can do this again with the block if you want. The block is just a way to really keep you super engaged through your arms, shoulders, and chest, or you can place the block to the side. And your choice here is that you can do this pose with the fingers interlaced if you want, almost like a headstand preparation. More classically, we would have the forearms flat, so palms flat to the floor, as wide as your elbows, elbows as wide as your shoulders. So either of those arm variations, totally fine, make your choice. It's a little softer on the shoulders to interlace the fingers, just saying. So if that makes a difference, then choose your position. Press down through the forearms, that doesn't change. Again, as you're pressing into your forearms, feel your chest lifting away from the floor. And then arm bones pull up into your shoulder chest. Good, and then low rib cage draws in and up. So again, you're creating that pressure on the spine. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips. Keep pressing into your forearms. And pull back through the tops of your thighs, pull your hips up and back. Yeah, arm bones keep hugging into the shoulders. Armpits squeeze towards the center of your back. Shoulder blade tips pull up towards your hips. Walk your feet forward any amount. Keep pressing down and out through your forearms. And then if you want to fool around, take one leg to the sky, tail of the dolphin. Good. And then take that leg down to the floor, take the other leg up, other tail of the dolphin. Nice. Keep pressing through your forearms, hips nice and high. Release that foot up on your tippy toes. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. And then release, please. Knees to the floor. Again, child's pose. Place your block to the side if you were using it. Arms can go wherever you want them to go. Good. Deep breaths. And then for a moment, take your hands back towards your ankles, even if you are not already there. And you can either hold the ankles or interlace the hands behind you, depends on what kind of a shoulder stretch feels the best to you. So you're rolling up onto the crown of your head either way, lifting the hips, rounding your back. So if you have your hands clasped behind you, you can take your arms up and overhead into that shoulder stretch, or you can simply hold the ankles and work with the back. Good. So breathing into the wideness of your shoulders, the wideness of the upper back. Awesome, you guys. Good. Nice, nice, nice. And then slowly release, please. Hips back to your heels. Release the hands. Good job. Walk yourself all the way back up. Find your way back onto your back. Okay. The hardest part is over. The hardest part is over. You found the peak pose. It's like Blue's Clues. You found the peak pose.
Do we get,
Good.
are you going to throw us herring or?
Yes, I'm going to throw you herring. Bend your knees, pull the knees in towards your chest. Only if you sing a dolphin song to me. Good. Wrap the right thigh on top of the left, please. Good. Squeezing the shins together, scoot your hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left. So a spinal twist with the legs wrapped. And again, if having the legs wrapped in a twist does not feel good, unwind them and just stack the knees. Good. Letting the right arm go wide to the right. The peanut gallery has really expanded here in the studio. So funny, the studio used to be a place of like deep respect and, you know, devotion, and now it's deep breaths though.
Mark is very silly today.
Yeah, you're all very silly. It's okay. Come on back to center, please. Good. Switch the legs. Left leg stacks on top of right, wrapping the thighs and the shins like an eagle. Scoot your hips over to the left, drop the knees to the right. Left arm goes wide or up alongside your ear. So keep in mind that dolphin is a progression pose, right? We can do it in and of itself, absolutely, and we should. But it also is a pose of progression that if it feels like, it's a little too much, go back to downward facing dog, right? Go back to thread the needle, go back to any other pose that helps you feel go back to fish, any other pose that helps you really feel the strength and openness of your back. Work with the lower spine, seated forward folds, etc. But also don't be afraid of it as being that middle place between going from what you know, what's familiar, down dog and all of those other poses to a little bit more active. Come on back to center, please. Unwind your legs, squeeze your knees in towards your chest. Take the knees wide for happy baby, reach for your ankles or your feet. And then don't be afraid that dolphin is maybe a segue to a pose like forearm balance or headstand or any number of other balancing poses. Because the truth is that once you get comfortable and confident in the strength that you have, is that so many more things become available to you. So yoga says, once you know who you are, you're always free. You're able to play. Hug the knees back in towards your chest, please. Squeeze. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Hug. Good. And then slowly release, either stretching the legs out in front of you. If you'd like a few breaths in supine Baddha Konasana, you're welcome to do that too, letting your knees drop wide. If you want to stay here the entire time in Shavasana and you want to place a block underneath each thigh, that's wonderful. Good. The only pose that we didn't do that I would say would be great preparation for dolphin would actually be shoulder stand and plow. Just only so much I can throw into an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes. But if you're continuing to practice for dolphin, that's another suggestion. Good. Let yourself come to rest. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Letting the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And taking a moment before you begin to push the floor away, come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. The dolphin able to go beneath the water to the surface. So able to exist in that space of infinite and finite, above and below, in or outer, doesn't matter. And so we start to be able to be in that state of play and state of enjoyment more when we don't make such a hard distinction between the bits and pieces of our lives. It's not so much about what I am versus what I'm not, or what something is or versus what it isn't, what's wrong versus what's right. We start to feel ourselves navigating, right? I can go from this place to that place. When you know who you are, you're always free. And when you really enjoy what you have without worrying about what it isn't, is then you can always be enjoying. And even when something is not going your way, you can find the place where you navigate back to, how am I enjoying this? How is this bringing me to a place that is more open? This is the dolphin, is learn to play and learn to navigate without worrying about, is it above or below, right or left, black or right, right or wrong. So you relax a little bit, have more fun. We'll close the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you guys so much. Great work tonight. See, you all survived. You weren't sure you were going to, but you did. Great job. I will see you soon. Just a heads up, in case you didn't see that Josh is actually beginning a new kind of class thing on Thursday starting at 7:30. Does it start today?
Yeah, I'm planning to.
Yep.